Everybody, welcome back for our latest movie review. I'm Tyler, joined by Ben. We're here to talk Sinners, the newest movie from director Ryan Coogler, who I don't know if you know, but is soon to be involved in the creative mind behind an X-Files reboot.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I did know about the reboot, but
he said that's his next project. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Is what's his name? The Coveney going to be involved at all?
I don't think so. I think this is going to be a fresh cast. They might bring the originals back for the cameo
tribute
here and
episode. Yeah,
but I think at this point it's time to just reboot it.
Right.
So
that's cool.
Yeah, we're here to talk Sinners, but the last season of the X-Files got so derailed and the writing was really not good. So
yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate. But Sinners, though, is not unfortunate.
Well, for some.
Yeah.
Not for the characters. It's pretty unfortunate.
It's pretty unfortunate for the characters, but if you're in the audience, it's not unfortunate at all.
Yeah, you picked a good one if you're in that audience. Mm-hmm. Which
Sinners is quite good.
Every time I've been to a theater since that movie has come out, including when I saw it, it's been pretty jam-packed. I don't know if they're going to see Minecraft or I think it's sort of moving towards Sinners now. That's kind of the next wave. But Minecraft it's pretty cool seeing people lines out the door for movies, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, Minecraft still has a lot going for it because of the whole chicken jockey thing.
I know. Good God.
I don't even know what I would do in that scenario. If people just start throwing shit everywhere and doing whatever. I'm so happy I saw that thing on the first day. I know.
That's what I do. I just praise myself for going opening weekend.
Yep. Before that took off. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. So, before the word got out.
Because I don't want to be the guy either. It's you damn kids and run off to tell on them and whatever.
Dude, you've seen these videos of kids busting through doors and breaking shit.
Yeah, it's just no. People bringing fire extinguishers in and letting loose with it, and they're like, "Come on!" None of that is happening in Sinners yet.
No.
So go while you
nothing
can.
We know of. Right.
But it did
start yelling chicken jockey.
Right, no shit. It did outperform projection though for its opening weekend, which is great. Because not many movies have done that.
Much to many people's concern or something for some reason.
Really?
Which is really weird. Yeah, you haven't seen any of this people being surprised that Sinners outperformed its budget on opening weekend, made 60 million opening.
No, tell me what is the concern?
They're comparing it to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which made about the same. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I guess the double standard is why can't a movie that's mostly about Black people perform the same and be praised instead of being this huge surprise, versus a freaking Tarantino film, which is obviously gonna perform well regardless of anything really. Just the fact that you slapped his name on it. I've seen that discourse kind of play out over the week, which has been interesting.
Why can't we just be happy that a movie did well?
I don't know, man. It's weird. I think Ben Stiller had a kind of viral tweet or whatever the hell it's called now about it, just being pretty much what you just said. Why can't we just celebrate a movie being good and not compare it to other shit and just
how many movies this year have absolutely tanked in the box office?
All of them,
and even some good ones. So Black Bag tanked. It's actually really good. Hell of a Summer, which isn't really good, but it's fun. It made $1.5 million in theaters.
Sure.
And just countless others. I think Wolfman did okay, but Flight Risk did not, and that's not good anyway. But lots of movies.
How did Novocaine do box office?
It underperformed.
I remember. Yeah, it was pretty quick to digital.
So really, the three that have made big dollars so far are Snow White, the Minecraft movie, and then there's one other. Oh, Captain America.
Right.
But even Snow White isn't going to break even because the budget was so huge.
Damn. Yep. Disney and their budgets.
I know. So this movie doing well is awesome. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
And on top of it, it's really good.
I think also people, sort of, I guess to kind of contradict what I just said, but people are acting like Ryan Coogler isn't a industry darling at this point. Who literally made like one of the biggest Marvel movies in the past 10, 20 years.
Well, he just signed this amazing deal with Warner Brothers.
Yep.
Right. That gives him complete creative control basically over his films, which is unheard of in the industry.
I know, which is great because this was like his first sort of original, piece, and freaking hit it out of the park. I think.
So clearly you get, or Warner Bros. At least sees him as one of the next huge names.
Yeah, which is a great foresight move, I think.
So another film that fell flat this year was Mickey 17. Bong Joon-ho, after the success of like Parasite. I think Mickey 17 was sort of the movie where they're like, here's a blank check, go make what you want. And that absolutely crashed. And I don't want to see that because he is a very visionary director. I love his work.
I know. I love that movie too, honestly. Just thinking back on it. I definitely want to watch it like again soon.
Same. I think I'll catch more if I watch it again.
Yeah, absolutely. The second rewatch is always where you like really get it, I think.
But I think that movie's going to be divisive because of the Mark Ruffalo character. So anyway, Sinners.
Character is a good word for it.
Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Watch our video on it if you want more. So Michael B. Jordan plays the two leads in this film. Two twin brothers. Smoke and Stack. And they are they've returned to Mississippi in the 1930s after being in Chicago, where it is very implied that they were gangsters.
Yes, even to the point of saying they worked with the great Al Capone.
Al Capone, yep. And they, came back with a lot of money because I think they ripped off a lot of people, stole from some people, and their dream is to open up a juke joint. So they buy this building from...
Do some dancing.
Yep, to do some dancing, some music, all that. And they buy this building from this dude early. Is he like the sheriff or something? Or is he just something? I can't remember.
He is the sheriff, and then it's revealed later.
He is a Klan.
Yeah. You didn't have to guess too hard, but...
No, I mean, if you're the sheriff in Mississippi in the 1930s, you're probably in
dead giveaway. Yeah.
Got some extra sheets laying around at home.
Right.
So this movie is about so many things. So give me your take on the music part at first, because I love it.
Yeah. So kind of one of the like, I don't know, oldest conventions and just like rock and blues history, I guess, which is, one of the major themes of this movie is like just the blues, is that the very first, I guess, quote unquote, like blues musician, blues guitarist was this guy named Robert Johnson, who I think also from Mississippi. I could be totally wrong on that, so don't quote me, but essentially the story is that he sold his soul to the devil at the crossroads, and that's how you have all these, blues songs, and there's like Crossroad Blues has been like turned into like a bunch of different songs and arrangements and stuff, but essentially that's where a lot of people will say pretty much all of popular music like poured out from there. Like that's how you turn that into jazz, and then you got rock from the blues, obviously, and you could say even like hip hop. Everything that we listen to now started with the blues, and I kind of tend to agree with that, honestly. So
yeah, I would agree too.
And the music is like a total like strength of this movie. There's a great scene, which we probably touch on later, that sort of blends a ton of like Afrofuturism and also historical stuff, because obviously we're in a different time, but then it kind of becomes a little vague about like where, like what time exactly, obviously we're in like Jim Crow South, but there's a futuristic element, to
well, I think it shows very much how that music influenced the music of the future, right? And
exactly. Yeah.
It's a great
just
scene.
Like how much music transcends
what's
time.
That word? Yeah, that's the one. I got you. Don't worry.
I was like looking for a whole phrase, and I was like, word vomit.
Dude, it's Wednesday. It's been a long ass week already, so you're fine.
You're not lying.
But yeah, I love so much about this film because it's so that you look based on what you said, you look right on the line in the movie of like, keep hanging around with the devil, eventually he's going to follow you home, or something to that effect, right?
Right.
And
main premise.
That's what happens we get, like, here
in the beginning. Yeah, they sin. There's a lot of sinning.
And there's, it's very conservative South. It's very religious. This idea of the pastor who is the father of our like other main character, the preacher boy. He, he sees music as the devil, basically, right?
Yep.
And you should be spending all your time in church.
Also a very commonly used trope and
tons
of movies and
for sure
shows. Yeah.
So, and Preacher Boy is like, no, music is his soul, right? And all of this, and he's gonna play, and that dude's got a absolutely phenomenal voice, by the way.
Oh, he's belting
the
whole movie
God.
In the car.
So, yeah,
great stuff.
It is incredible. So anyway, we get to the opening night of.
So he defies his father figure. Mm-hmm. Joins up with the uncles, who are Michael B. Jordan's.
Mm-hmm. Michael's B. Jordan. Is it plural Michaels or Jordans?
Michaels.
Yeah.
I guess Michaels.
Yeah, Michael's B. Jordan.
Correct.
There we go. It's like brothers-in-law.
Right. Yeah. Like, what do you really say that?
Anyway, they get to opening night at the juke joint, and everyone's having a blast until the strangers come knocking at the door, and they are vampires.
Yes.
And they slowly start picking off the people that were in there. And then they clear out the place, at which point they just like feast outside.
Yeah, that was one of the fastest just like downfalls I've seen in one of those movies, really.
You go from like 3 or 4 to all of a sudden there's like 50.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how did that happen so fast? Right.
But I think, and let's give the score, I guess, and then we'll jump into some of the other themes and stuff. So, spoilers and whatnot. So we gave this a 4.5 out of 5. It is outstanding. It is excellent. Go see it. You'll really like it if you have appreciation for music history. If you like vampire flicks, any or all of those things, you'll have a really good time.
Yeah, I think even history in general.
Yeah,
American history. Mm-hmm. Black history for sure.
So. Yeah, if you're one of the people that wants to get rid of all the woke history, then this may not be for you.
No. No. But there's a good chance you still might see it because freaking goddamn everyone's seeing it.
That's true. And it's doing really well. And there's a reason for that. So
exactly. We'll tell you why now.
So 4.5 out of 5, go see it. Okay. I think on top of that, there's a lot about racism both in the past and modern day. In this movie, like for sure, right? So the vampires at the door, it's that evil and darkness that it only gets in if we let it.
Yeah,
right. Which is speaking to our current, in my mind, some of our current state of how we have discourse as a society and whatnot, and this like darkness that's overtaking some of that.
But the allowing of people in.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
We're allowing evil people into our lives, and it's turning us into that too.
Right.
And so there's a lot of that. Ultimately, the ultimate evil in this film is the Klan, which is obviously racism, right?
Yes.
So what I really appreciate about this from Ryan Coogler was that he is so skilled at telling a story that has multiple layers of strong thematic elements.
Yep.
And this was no different for a freaking horror movie, dude. Like,
I know.
Outstanding.
The guy goes from Black Panther, superhero stuff, and kind of says a lot of the same stuff that's like really even more topical now than maybe it even was. I don't know, because I guess Black Panther was 2015, right? Is that
I was 10 years old? 18. No.
Okay.
17. No, it was 17. 17 or 18. 18. Sorry.
That's still so old now.
I know. It feels like it, right? It's like 7 years ago. But it's one of the last movies that Chadwick Boseman did. Like,
man.
He was already sick when he filmed that, but he wasn't to the point
right.
where it was really affecting him. So,
Yeah,
and that's why he did so little in Endgame.
Right. Right.
So obviously, yeah, that's sad, but that was Black Panther was fantastic.
Yeah, I think it kind of like almost rejuvenated the MCU and like sparked a little life back into it, you could say, and maybe even too much. Where now we're like sort of inundated with so much shit because of
I think what it did was state that there's other stories that can be told here.
Right.
And what they failed to capture was that those stories have to be good.
Yeah.
There's lots of those stories you can tell, and they're doing that. They're just not all good. So, but Black Panther was both. It introduced, new core characters, a new part of the universe, and was strong.
Yeah.
So
Coogler is like whatever medium, whatever, whichever genre you want, I got you.
Yeah.
I
can't wait for him to do X-Files. Dude, that's one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Once you told me that, I was like, oh, really? Like
now it's going to piss off people because I guarantee not everybody in there is going to be the white guy and white lady.
Yep.
And nor should they be, because that's not our world. But they're, oh boy, I'm so looking forward to that conversation.
I mean, every remake, it almost feels like people, like studios, feel obligated to do that now, which kind of sucks because it kind of takes away from just, I don't know, the overall intent of just like more diversity in the workplace and Hollywood or whatever, where it's like token, brown people or token sort of like minorities as like these really beloved characters that people remember being white people, and then it becomes an issue for some, which turns into a whole thing.
And really, it should be like, let's make the movie look like our world, right? And you hope that's the case. And that's why I think X-Files should be a complete reboot, by the way, because then you're not making Mulder or Scully, different from what people knew.
Yeah.
It just gets around some of that because you want it to be successful, and you don't want people boycotting it out of hand just because of somebody's skin color, and that's really dumb anyway.
Yeah,
but
totally.
Yeah, if you just have new characters, then you don't have to worry about that. So
sure.
What else stood out to you in this film? Because how about the actual like action scenes? What'd you think?
Ooh, yeah, I think just horror wise, like kind of more conventional stuff. I think it was all there. I think it was pretty solid. Had some good kills. I mean, you had some pretty standard, I would say, like vampire plot lines. It's like the guy gets seduced by the vampire and then she turns into a vampire. Okay, whatever. The family member tries to like call them in. The whole like sort of portraying them as a cult was obviously like very intentional and interesting, and related to the clan,
and to modern day cults.
To modern, yeah. Absolutely. And that actually made me think of the like very final scene with a freaking Buddy Guy, who's like a like blues legend, like an actual. When I saw him, I was like, "Is that freaking like Buddy Guy?" And then they had him in the credits, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
You stuck around for the credit scene. Awesome.
Yeah, it was like post credits, but like not really.
It was like it was like the mid roll credit scene.
Yeah, mid roll.
Yeah, but it was like, long, dude.
Yeah, it was like a whole scene. I was like, damn.
I was
Coogler's
standing
in
down,
his Marvel bag right now.
I'd already left the seat, and I was standing down, like next to the like garbage can inside the theater.
Right,
and I'm
turn
like,
around.
oh, this is gonna be like 2 minutes, right? It's a standard.
Right.
And we're sitting there for like 8 minutes or so. I'm like, should I go sit back down? Are we like,
I know. Shit.
Was this just the intermission or what?
But Brutalist or something?
Yeah.
No.
But no, it was a really cool scene.
Yeah, you definitely learned that in Marvel movie school, Marvel Studios, for sure. Make a whole other movie after the movie's over. But yeah, I think just like like you said, like how it translates to modern day, and then right there we're with those same vampires in modern day, and they're they're just chilling. They're like acting like nothing happened. They're going to see the preacher boy when he grew up. But we're also like dealing with really old, like almost cliched, like a vampire, conventions. Like you can't let them in unless they, allow them in. Like they can't come in unless they ask and they're given permission. Like
straight out of True Blood. Just kidding. I mean, it is
right.
But long before that.
And even it's just so well crafted, and there's just so much going on. It's unbelievable, honestly.
Yeah, I want to hit on something that are two things that stood out to me.
Yeah.
One, the action scenes. Have you ever seen From Dusk Till Dawn?
What do you think? Ooh, I haven't. I've only seen like is that the same series as like the Night of the Living Dead? No, it's not. Right?
No, Dusk Till Dawn is Tarantino and George Clooney star in it.
Oh my god, yeah.
And the action in this movie reminded me so much of the scenes in that one.
Did it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And even
it's like the vampire movie.
Yeah, music plays a huge role too. It's in a bar in like on the border, or actually in Mexico, I think.
Okay.
And but it's like rock music instead of blues.
Oh, really?
So
that's cool.
Yeah, the settings are similar. I wouldn't be shocked at all if I heard that there was some inspiration from that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The other thing that really stood out, totally different, but when we talk about parallels from historical to today, I couldn't help but notice that one of the themes here was that history repeats itself.
Yeah.
And that our setting for this movie was in the 1930s.
Right.
And saying like, hey, things from the 30s can happen again.
Yeah.
And we're
getting awfully close to the 30s in our reality.
Yep. I don't think that was unintentional. I think Ryan Coogler is a good enough director that I think he deserves the benefit of saying nothing he does is by accident.
Yeah, I think so too.
There are very few directors that I'll give that type of credit to.
Right.
But he's one of them. And like Kubrick was notorious for that, right? Like everything was for
super a reason. Visionary.
Yeah. Totally. Like due to the like in The Shining, in the stock room, like a specific can where he put it in the angle that he put it at was intentional.
Yeah, I know.
To make a statement about things. So that's here, crazy. I think Coogler's got the same vision. I think Nolan is kind of like that, and I think Tarantino's like that to a degree. I think Spielberg used to be kind of seen at that level. I don't know anymore.
Yeah, he lost his edge a little bit.
Yeah, we lost our fastball a little bit. We've had a couple that are like, they're fine,
Right.
But
he's getting up there now.
Yeah. I mean, he had his run. It's a hell of a run.
Right.
So I don't think that was by accident to have the 1930s be the theme and to have things that really nudge you to think of today.
Yep.
So,
and I think that's what that final scene is totally.
Yep.
That's like the most blatant kind of comparison to that. It's just like they're still here, Preacher Boy's scared out of his damn mind.
Yep.
But he still remembers,
They're still here. They just wear 80s clothes now.
Yeah.
Which was
right. Was that meant to be in the 80s, you think? Or is that meant to be modern day? Okay.
Because he would have been like he would have been like 20 or 18 to 20 in 1936 or 4, whenever it's set.
He's not going to be like 100 years old and they're going to visit him.
So he would have been in his 80s in the 80s.
Right. Which I think Buddy Guy is like 88 or something.
Yeah, so that makes sense. But the vampires haven't aged today, true to vampire rules.
See, that's the thing. Like I like that he stayed true to like all the vampire shit that we like know. Like the average person that has seen like a vampire movie or like anything with vampires is like, oh yeah, now they're immortal, now they don't age, If they bite you, you become one, you can't let them in, or they can't go in a house unless exactly.
Invited,
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. The attention to detail here is phenomenal. The character development is phenomenal. The action is phenomenal.
It
The
is.
lighting and set design, outstanding. There's just a lot to love here.
Yeah, I know we kind of, I think I mentioned that scene, like where they sort of all like transcend and like transform into these,
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Musical figures. Yeah, really cool. Like, just like, I don't know, there's this whole, I like studied this in college, but like Afrofuturism and just like the idea that like Black culture and history kind of can like exist on like sort of an like extraterrestrial level almost. It's really cool, and there's a lot of like musical influences and like artists that sort of work that in to their music. But like when that sort of like Jimi Hendrix kind of like funkadelic guy came out and started like riffing his guitar, I was like, oh shit. And then it sort of transforms into like hip hop inspired music, but it's still like forget his actual name, call him the preacher boy, but and it's still him like carrying the song. Like that was super
all
cool.
While he's performing in there, and
it was like this like tracking shot, going around the whole club. I don't know, it was really cool.
It was a brilliant scene, I think, and it just showed the influence that type of music was going to have over the next 100 years almost, and
yeah, exactly.
It was just really cool. It was half a celebration of culture, this film, and half a warning about, the evils that exist.
Right.
And it's just so well done. So
yeah, it seems to be like Coogler's thing. And just celebration of even, like history, like pre 1930s, going back to like more even like African music and cultures, which is really cool stuff, honestly, across the board.
What was your favorite kill scene? Mine just tended to be the one where Stack meets his transformation. Where he's like, there's a fair amount of sex in this movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm tempted to just almost say the sex scene because it's so like out of,
Yeah,
so that's the thing. Like he plays on so many cliches that's almost like this fucking guy,
And those
like
are horror cliches. The people that have sex get killed, right? And so, although Preacher Boy didn't, right? Like he did and didn't die. So
that is true. And his lover, character sort of like also became a vampire.
Right.
You don't see like that happen,
Right.
Usually
protecting
like
her, right? And all that. Yeah.
The main character, at least like one of the women make it. Not really in this
Not here. Not here. So Preacher Boy's trying to find Stack. He goes into like one of the back rooms and Stack's having sex in there. So he shuts the door, leaves, and goes out. And then Smoke's looking for him. So he goes into that same room because Preacher Boy's like, I'm not going in there by myself to interrupt him. So he goes in there and all of a sudden she's just like gnawing away. It's dinner time. And, she's.
Yeah. That was the most like people in the theater were like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Very, very upsetting.
It is.
And I think Coogler, as he's like writing this, is like, oh, people are gonna be so pissed as this is happening on screen. Like I want people to be like, don't do,
right.
And like it's a great theater movie, which I think explains kind of the outpouring of people to go see it at the movies.
It's a lot of fun seeing theater. Nobody's gonna scream chicken jockey. At least I don't think
so. Music's great.
Yeah.
What do you think of? I don't know. I've been thinking about this, just sort of how the vampires, obviously their numbers grow extremely fast, and then they have this, even sort of like from the beginning with the main guy when it's just the three of them. They're very culty, very like trying to call you in and convert you and just sort of invite you into their line of thinking in like a very inviting, kind of graceful way that's obviously very insidious and predatory. But then they just like that one scene, man, where they're all like dancing in a circle and like just look like so happy, and they're just like, we have infinite happiness here, like what's why not come join us? Like, you know, we can do whatever the hell we want. It was very like, I don't know, kind of for me, like, harken back to like Midsummer, you know, some of those movies where it's like there's this really creepy and messed up, but they're having a good ass time doing it and looks very convincing. You know, it's almost like, oh, I don't know, should we go along? I don't know.
I think it also speaks to like this era of superiority and power a little bit.
Totally. Totally.
And I think it's just, you know, the lead guy here, played by Jack O'Connell, is the lead vampire is just like really creepy, and he does a great job in the role.
He's like the devil, right? Is he?
I don't think he is. I was kind of. I don't think he is.
Not Lucifer incarnate. Okay, because I was kind of wrestling with that.
Yeah, I don't think it would have been that easy to kill him.
Right. Yeah.
Because basically, this movie turned into Until Dawn, right? We said make it Until Dawn, and then good.
Oh man,
a little better
that's
than
coming
Until
out in
Dawn.
like 2 weeks.
I'm thinking. No, it comes out Friday. So.
Oh shit.
Right.
You never know. Don't put it.
Anyway,
that's gonna be
they make it till morning, and then they all burn up. Really cool scene though, as they just try to make it those last few seconds until dawn. But yeah, the dancing thing, and I thought that's coupled with the scene of like the building, the barn or whatever, burning to the ground, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you see like them celebrating in this misery,
right?
While all these other people's happiness and everything around them just burns to the ground. And it's
everybody dies.
There's so much great like symbolism in this movie. We could talk about this for an hour, but it is just truly very good.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go see it for yourself at the end of the day if you haven't yet.
I don't think this has a shot to really be an Oscar like contender for best picture.
Yeah,
or anything. But cinematography, it should have a shot,
right? Yeah, it's sort of like when I see these types of movies, it makes me wonder, like, what really is the criteria for like a really great like Oscar movie? Because a lot of the times I feel like the movies that I really like enjoy and like just like watching and going to like see in person, like they usually aren't the ones that are nominated for like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
And
horror movies
maybe
just
that's just
never
my taste.
Well, horror movies just never like get a lot of love there.
Yeah.
And to be fair, there's not a lot of like really truly great horror movies. This is one of them. Like you're not going to see Freddy Krueger up on stage.
No.
At the Academy Awards. Although now they're actually making all of the voters watch all the movies to be able to vote, which is shocking that wasn't a rule already. So
I wasn't. I mean, I could see that.
I mean, I totally like, and that's why the like misinformation and the smearing campaigns worked so well.
Right.
Because they hadn't seen the damn movies anyway.
Especially if that means like not even just movies that were for best picture, like you have to watch all like, you know, every category. There's no shot. It's like 50 movies.
Yeah, Kyle and I were talking about this. And there's a lot of like crossover. So when you talk best picture, there's a lot of crossover with best director and best like screenplay and all of that. But once you get into the other stuff, lighting, you know,
sound,
all of that, there's going to be a lot of different things. Now, I hope the rule is just to vote in a category. You have to watch everything in that category. So maybe there's a couple categories you don't vote in because you haven't seen whatever, you know. But
yeah. How do you think they prove that they've watched all the movies? Do you think there's like an exam quiz?
I wonder if they send them like digital copies of the movie that have like the print on where once it's played, then it sends like a red receipt almost, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I know back in the day they had like they would send people, you know, physical copies of stuff, and it would have these like special seals or something, right? Yep. Or what would they always put on like the beginning of movies, like some sort of disclaimer, right? Like this is only for review purposes only. If you disseminate this, it's like you're fucked or something like that.
If you're a Curb Your Enthusiasm fan, there's a scene in that show where he has like
that's
an entire
exactly what
drawer.
I was thinking of.
Yeah, the whole drawer full of screeners.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then he gets robbed, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So awesome show, by the way.
Yeah. Shout out to Larry.
Yeah, shout out to Larry and his op-ed that he wrote recently. Fantastic as well.
Oh man, I gotta check that out.
It is mocking Bill Maher.
Oh, yeah, he's like the new heel.
He is. He's he's had his little heel turn here, and it's been a long heel turn. This isn't like a sudden thing.
Yeah,
but yeah, we're
true.
there. So anyway, Sinners, we'll wrap up here. Sinners is a lot of fun, and it is not just a fun movie; it's a great movie.
Yeah,
I don't know, Ben, where this is going to sit end of the year, like where it'll stack up. I mean, there's a lot of big stuff yet to come out, and
there is.
We have the fall Oscar bait season to come to, right? And all of that. But for now, I
think leading into summer, that's a great.
It is
solid option.
It really is, and you'll enjoy it. Promise, unless you just really don't like horror or scary stuff or vampires or any of that, then you might not. But go see it. We give it 4.5 out of 5, which is a great score from us. And we gave it a 5 out of 5 in the look, sound, and feel category, which is like cinematography and visual effects and sound effects. So it is just a gorgeous film.
It really is. If you're a music fan, you'll probably love it. It's shot so well. We haven't even talked about that, like acting, really.
No, but there's only there's a few characters, right? I guess I shouldn't say
there's a couple. The Michaels, his sort of like lover / or I guess I always got them mixed up. But one of their like past lovers sort of becomes
Smokes lover was his dead child's mother, right?
Right.
And then Stax is the one who gets converted to a vampire.
Yeah, exactly. The one that's like the daughter of like the plantation owner or something.
Yep.
Yeah. Exactly. And there's so much interplay between like the two Michael B. Jordan characters, that we didn't even cover, and there's just like so much going on with like the plantation person's daughter being like, half black and like mixed and not feeling included and being like excluded. Mm-hmm. And then like
from both communities, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. And I think she's sort of come out since this movie, sort of has gotten around and, talked about how it's really like kind of opened and, a lot of doors and like shaped her experience in a way,
Yeah.
Just like being mixed and especially in like super high, whatever, Hollywood.
Absolutely. And you got the old guy, Delta Slim.
Yep, Slim.
He's trading work for alcohol and all of that stuff.
Right.
But he sacrifices himself, so there's another trope, right?
Yeah.
The old guy sacrifices himself
Very
so all
heroic.
his friends can get away. And
yeah, exactly.
Which kind of works and kind of doesn't.
Yeah, he's like the wise guy's been around the block, he gives you all his knowledge and then he sacrifices himself so you can go and
it's very Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Exactly.
So yeah, the characters in this are strong.
Yeah, I think so.
Like again, we've said it a few times. Just see the movie; it's really good, and you'll have a good time with it. So, absolutely. All right, let's get out of here. So now it's really warm, and for like this time of year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to turn the fan on, and it's really loud, so I can't do that when we're recording. So anyway, like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you like what we do and you want to support us and see more of it, then become a member to our YouTube channel. For as little as I think like $5 a month, you can really help support us, and it does a lot for us. We really appreciate that. Until next time, we'll be, let's see, what are we doing next? Hayden and I are recording an episode 3 anniversary because we are both going to see that in theaters on Friday.
That's sick.
And then we'll probably do one for Thunderbolts right around the corner.
Thunderbolts is soon. That Drop movie looks kind of interesting.
Now, yep.
Is now, yeah.
And
Until
then there's
Dawn,
Accountant
maybe.
2.
Accountants.
Yeah. Lots of stuff coming out.
Lots of stuff.
Summer's here early for movies, man. It's like it's time. So
the fun stuff, the fun flicks, horror flicks are already hitting the big screen.
So good times ahead. So like I said, subscribe to the channel. We'll have reviews of most of it. I won't commit to all of it. Most of it. Thanks everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.